Anybody that's a co-host, you might get a pop-up, just hit okay. Um, and that way, let's see, we have another announcement. Paulette, do you have announcements?
I just want to thank everybody that's participating in this project and helping Rochelle out. It's fabulous. We will be updating you on all the dates and reminders. And like Rochelle said, that Lotus Beadens Jewelry has been working on this for quite a long time, and now they're checking all the chains that they have. So even if you cannot make the dates that we have, June 13th, the one that there's other times that you can come into Lotus Speeds. You can contact us and we can get chain to you that you can check and get chain to you that you can connect and then bring it back in. So because there's beaders that meet together on bead groups Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You have a lot of your friends that are there tonight that you can contact. You can contact Rochelle. So even if you can't make some of these dates, you can do it, contact us, and we'll help you provide the information and also the tools to go ahead and connect these chains for us. So just keep, looking at our website, looking at the dates. We're updating things all the time. And like Rochelle said, Kat's going to be cleaning up and making our piece chain web page beautiful and easy to find everything. So I do want to thank her for doing that. I'd like to thank Suze, which is our membership person. She is working really hard, and she uses her special touch to welcome people. And people have actually replied to an email saying that they liked the message that they get from her and that they're getting the president's message to them. So, we're loving the fact that we are able to meet together in person, be together, be via Zoom, and share in this project and share with Upper Midwest Bead Society and as well as Lotus Beads and Jewelry. So, and we do have some, our retreats coming up in fall. So we have fun things coming after the Grand Connection August 6th. So anyway, so just keep posted, keep informed. And Rochelle does a fabulous job on her Facebook page, her page, also Upper Midwest Bead Society, our public page, and our Upper Midwest State Membership 2026 page. So pay attention to those posts, like and share to all your friends and family, and remind them it takes a village to do this. So if you're going to come to August 6th, bring 2 or 3 of your friends with you. It's a family. Bring your family with you, your family of friends, to help us do this project. So,
Yeah, they don't all have to bead. All they have to do
yeah,
is stand there and look pretty.
yes.
So we totally are excited for you. And Kat is got a new Instagram page up too. So it's Upper Midwest Beads, Upper Midwest Bead.
Yes, Upper Midwest Bead.
Upper Midwest Bead, and it has a fun little logo on it. So check out our Instagram. The old one, we can't really erase and delete because we don't know the password to do it. So just kind of ignore the old one, share things and follow the new one. And hey, it is what it is. We're beaters, not social media experts. So we appreciate all your help, any of your advice. And I'm just so excited. And also our July meeting, we have another wonderful um beater coming up, and I just want to get the date right. So I'm gonna make sure I got that here. Because I have a tendency to not know linear time. So I just want to make sure you're all on the same plane as I am without good internet. There we go. And
July 6th?
it is
I think Dora said 6.
July 6th. Yeah, it's Mandy Oliani and Bead Woven Design Dreams. And she's amazing. There's just so many people in the globe. We've got a whole year lined up here. And so Mandy is, of course, a seed bead weaver extraordinaire. And so we are so excited. That all of you guys are willing to share your time and space with us. And so we've got a great year of booking in here. So put July 6th on your calendar. I know the 4th is the weekend, but Monday comes every week. So join us here again, Edina Senior Center, 4 o'clock for open beading. And other than that, any other announcements?
I would like to show off the finished traveling fox #2. So let me bring that up really quickly.
Yay, yes.
So number one
Beautiful.
is still in progress, but #2, give me just a second and I would like to show it off. So hang on.
Did I make you a host?
Oh, I think you did.
Okay,
She's a co-host, yes.
perfect. Many people worked on this traveling fox, and it went from one person to the next to the next. And I really think it turned out in ways I could have never imagined when I started it. I mean, Roberta Sorensen made those beautiful polymer clay beads on the necklace up there part. And it's just so obviously if you have the necklace first, then you get beads to match, it's a little easier. But it's really, yeah, everybody did such a great job from one end of the spectrum to the other. And so we're excited. Our next project, we're going to start after we have achieved world peace. So, it'll start in August. And it's all about mermaising. We're connecting it to the Toho Challenge this year. And so, Hannah will be putting up things. You can see Paulette right there has the box in front of her. I know we have several people in our members doing the Toho Challenge, and we have more kits to give away to different volunteers. And so there will be a drawing, I'm sure, for a kit for our volunteers for the Peace Chain Grand Connection, won't they, Paulette?
Yes, I think we have 13 and we gave one away and we're gonna use two for the Fox project. And then after that, we always love giving gifts, these will kind of raffle them at our different events. So anytime we have an event, Minnesota State Fair, the Twin City Beep is our volunteers, the Toho Peace Ring Project volunteers, the August 6th volunteers. And then so we will, and also retreat, we'll probably give another one. So, yep.
Super exciting. So that's one great reason to volunteer. Your name goes in the raffle for a free Toho mini challenge kit. And so we're so darn excited though today to have what we have tonight. I mean, oh my gosh. Teresa Sullivan is an award-winning artist who took a non-traditional path in the ancient art of bead weaving. Has a background in music, drawing, collage, took workshop from Joyce Scott in 1994 that changed her life. I don't know if any of you remember Joyce Scott when she visited here and spoke to us. And so I could see why she was an inspiration to you as well. And so the rebellious in Joyce's work led her to dive in the medium of woven glass beads for both jewelry and sculpture. Over the decades, a long distance apprenticeship of sorts developed with Teresa assisting in Joyce's Penland School of Crafts, Haystack Mountain School of Crafts, Cape Town and Durban, South Africa. Teresa has exhibited her work across the US, in Japan, and most recently, Mobilia Gallery in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and taught and lectured for the US and now lives in Olympia, Washington. And we're so excited to have you.
Hey,
Yay.
excited. Thanks, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me right off the
Yeah.
bat. And let's see. I will share screen. I will just get this party continue the party, I'll say. I don't need to get the party started. Just need to continue the party. And once this thing disappears, I can hit the slideshow button on this. Come on, baby. Let's see. Let's see if I can. Oh, here we go. I moved it. Okay. All right. Slideshow. Me and my Luddite thing here. I will scoot that back up. I don't know if you can see what I'm seeing. There it goes. Okay, yeah. Well, I'll start off by telling you that I am partially a Minnesotan. Although born in Toledo, Ohio, I lived in Mankato, Minnesota for a few years when I was a little kid. And I will scoot this out of the way. Oops, so I can move around on the screen easier. This is just a piece that I made that is actually pretty small. The red beads are size 11 and it's hollow. Can you tell I grew up Catholic? um, and anything with a hole in it is a bead. I love beads of all sizes. Although, as you can see, I use mostly seed beads. This is me giving a kind of a devilish Jack Nicholson-ish grin, performing with my band Living Eyes many years ago. I loved drawing as well as music when I was a kid. I sang in church. I was very lucky to have older brothers and sisters who had lots and lots and lots of albums. This is in the 1970s when I was growing up. I decided to be a very good girl and not get in trouble as a teenager and do college prep in high school. And about halfway through high school, I was like, oh, I'm sick of this. I'm going to go back to art. Then I decided, oh, artists are pretentious jerks. I'm going to be a musician. And then, of course, I immediately discovered musicians can be just as big jerks as, pretentious jerks as artists. So, hey, why not do both? And who cares, right? Who cares whether anybody's being pretentious? Now, when I really got into beads, I had actually been working at a tile factory and I was making my own ceramic beads. I quickly I had a bead store nearby, walking distance, thank God. And I was introduced to the Portland Bead Society early on. In fact, I went to the Portland Bead Bazaar annual show with a whopping $10 to spend. And this is in November 1992. And the guy who told me about the Portland Bead Society urged me to join, and it was $10. And I was like, hey, $10 is all I have. I want to buy some beads. And he actually said, here's $10, join the Bead Society. So I joined and started learning many, many things about beads. Now, again, when I was starting, I was really interested in the trade beads. I'll stop short of calling myself a trade beads snob, but seed beads were traded too. And there's lots of history behind seed beads as well. When I saw the work of Joyce Scott, I was like, oh, this is kind of like underground Zap comics, only in beads. I love it. So that intrigued me. So that got me into it. This was actually the first thing I made, the sort of first self-directed project I made with seed beads. It wasn't this, but it was a beaded eyeball. This was a piece called Girls Are Made of Mutilated Monkey Feet. Does anybody remember that childhood song, Girls Are Made of Mutilated Monkey Feet? It's, greasy, grimy gopher guts, that kind of thing. Well, as I was finishing this piece, I'd actually found those green Barbie legs in a free pile, an estate sale aftermath. They had like a cajillion toys. And I was like, hey, I can do something with that. There are holes in them, or I can beat around them. And I was almost done with the piece when I literally saw scrawled in chalk on a wall, presumably by a little boy, Girls Are Made of Mutilated Monkey Feet. And I thought, perfect name for this, So yeah, collage, found objects. What can I say? Love it. I do love incorporating found materials in my work. This is another early piece. It was kind of a relief thing. What I had done for the previous 40 hours in beads was to restring an antique lampshade, which was pretty huge. It took 40 hours to do. And it was only the little amber beads in there that I was using. I was replicating, so I was not allowed to deviate and get wild. So as a consolation for sweating through that project, I made this piece out of some of the remaining beads. That little, I don't know, poker chip or whatever on the right-hand side, that big round thing, and the words under the caption is "Stop Monkeying." And again, another early piece, fairly early piece, less early than that. I like netted and open weaves. I actually started doing, once I realized you could do netting, I actually took a pair of fishnet tights that I had and realized, oh, I could do this pattern in beads. It was not the usual kind of fishnet tights. They actually incorporated a combination of hexagons and diamonds together. So this is before I had a computer, so I was taking graph paper and drawing things out. And I like the fact that you can cover a lot of space in a short period of time and use it kind of as a canvas, like I did here, for putting things on top of it. And of course, I love that Pulp Fiction dime novel cover art. At estate sales, you go into I was going to a lot of estate sales too and finding interesting things. I actually found those little snake vertebrae beads in a necklace at an estate sale with adorable little pink beads interspersed. It was kind of a funny combination. But yeah, you go to an estate sale and you find the family Bible dating back to the 1800s in the living room for sale for $20, and then you go back into the back bedroom in the closet and they got the smut books in there. So that was one of my things that I would plunder. Here, I'm using open weave netting, and I've got 3 layers, and then I put what I call a curly weave on it. The curly weave I learned from Joyce Scott in the first class I ever took from her. You take a class from Joyce for 2 days, you could be busy for the next 10 years with what she shares. And fortunately, I didn't have to wait 10 years to take another class from Joyce. This was the result. What I didn't finish it in the workshop, but I took a week-long workshop from Joyce in Duluth, Minnesota through the Split Rock Arts program. And Sue Swanson, are you here?
Hi, Teresa. I'm
Hi,
here.
I was looking at your name and go, oh my God, is that the Sue Swanson? Cool.
And that's the Teresa, and we exchanged music, and you sent me beautiful vintage beads, Minneapolis vinyl.
Yes. Oh my God. I still have those records. That was I was blown away, you guys. I mean, in addition to beading, I was geeking out on all these people, including Sue, who had gone to these concerts back in the day of these great Minnesota bands, including the Trashmen. And I remember your favorite band was the Avantis, right?
Oh, and Danny's Reasons.
Danny's, okay, cool. Yeah, there was great music. And I actually, believe it or not, I had 3 different albums of all music on this Minneapolis label from the 60s. And I was going, oh, I know there's a really good surf band from Duluth, landlocked surf bands. Perfect, right? And I actually looked him up in the phone book, and just geeking out, I just called him up. And actually, when I talked to his wife, and he's at band practice, but and then I got to talk to him the next day. He's still playing music. But yeah, it was beads and music, and it was quite wonderful.
And that class changed my life too.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'll send you a picture of my little girl that I made, but I had to make her a little black dress because she's quite interesting.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, now, in that class, I noticed that Joyce had an assistant, and by the end of the week, the gears were turning, and I was going, hey, Joyce, you want an assistant in the future? And call me up, So she did. A year later, I assisted her at Penland, and that was a week-long session. We, among other things, we worked on pictorial tapestries, and Joyce just puts butcher paper on the table and draws on the table right in front of you in your workspace. She drew the picture on the right, and she had me draw a picture on the left. These are about, 3 by 3 inches, less than 4 inches square. And you just fill in the space, you draw it, and you don't need a computer. You don't have to pixel it out. You don't have, it's not as hard as it sounds. You just start, you do a few stitches, you go, okay, where am I? Lay your work on the drawing that you have in front of you and continue. It's actually not unlike what they call cartooning in the people who the native people in northern Arizona with uh, the the wool rugs, the way they do that in a way. The one tree, the two pieces that you're looking at, the one on the left, she called it Joyce named it Teresa Portland, and the one on the right, she named it Teresa Black. Like, and then more pictorial, this is a brooch that a friend's husband commissioned for their anniversary. They collect kissing figures and they just let me go from there, that information, and that's what I came up with. Same way. I actually drew it out and just kind of winged it. This is a representation of a Cuban singer named La Lupe. I got her picture out of a flyer for like a film society that had a film about her, and I just loved her expression. So I just thought, okay, I got to do that, and it's a brooch. This actually, I made this as a tribute to the people who have encouraged me to create artwork, and that is many different people. I won't, Joyce and many others. In fact, I do want to give credit to my mom. You know how people that I give credit to my mom. Well, my mom's mom took her out of art school. And she let her do that for a year and then just like, okay, secretarial school for you, Missy, after that. And my mom did not do that to me. So I got to give her credit for that. Again, with this piece, I didn't use patterns. I made it up as I went along. I had, as you can see, and I don't know if you can see my little arrow here, some curly weaves here and here. Curly weaves are great connectors. And this was another spontaneous necklace, made it up as I went along. You'd be amazed at how easy it is to transition from, or maybe you have realized already, from herringbone to tubular peyote stitch. The funny thing was, I thought it would scare people. I thought, oh my God, people are going to think this is butt ugly, etc. Well, it turns out I was on a field trip with the Portland Sculptors Guild several years ago. And a little white-haired lady came up to me and told me how much she liked it. So I was like, okay, didn't scare her. That was nice. And more curly weaves. Can't stay away from them. What can I say? This one has a story behind it. A friend, this crazy guy that we knew, had a huge record collection. Speaking of records, Sue. Like Sue, he had a huge record collection, and he gave one away. He was in a record store and he saw how collectible this one record he had came. It was like Kick Out the Jams by the MC5, the uncensored one with the, that, etc., the gatefold and all that stuff. And he was so incensed by the dollar amount they wanted to get for it that he just went home, got his extra copy of that because he had two copies, right? And he got that extra copy out and just gave it to the next guy he saw. And a couple weeks later, he actually ran into that guy at random, and guy said, "Oh my God, that music is great, changed my life," and so on. So I've got kind of like you can't really see it as behind the hand, the wrist of the hand, but I've got, and going up behind the neck, I've got kind of like building, like skyscraper shapes, and then obviously there's this huge hand, 3D hand. It's almost life size, and that's actually a curly weave with hands as dangles. And that's a close-up. And those are those wonderful nail heads, those two-hole nail heads. It was kind of a pain in the butt to do the netting with the nail heads because they're two-holed and you can't just go back in to finish your thread, but I got it done. I did it anyway because I love the color and so on. And yeah, I do like heads. If you're one of the swanker donors on my Patreon page, you become part of the Head of the Month Club. I send you a head every month. And heads don't have to be monsters. Recognize Carmen Miranda? And of course, I actually taught a heads workshop on doing heads, 3D heads. These are all three-dimensional in Springfield, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln had his law practice. And so, of course, I had to do an Abe Lincoln head. And you know, I'm a bad punster. I had to do a silver-tongued devil too. Now, sometimes I find out how prejudiced I am. I once taught this class, these are flame cuffs. They fit on your wrist. They slip over your hand and are worn on the wrist. I taught this class in San Luis Obispo, and I thought, oh God, these ladies, they're nice church ladies. They're not going to want to do flames. So I told them, oh, you can do floral shaped things on them if you want. You don't have to do flames. And this one lady stood up. She's going, I used to ride on the back of a Harley, and I can do all the flames I damn please. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. I underestimated you. I gotta remember that. But yeah, on the other hand, I've sent, class proposals to stores and gotten some. And this one store sent me a rejection notice of a beautiful little card that was totally hearts, flowers, and doily style. And I was like, oh, that's why they don't want to learn how to do monster heads there. I wonder why. Got the message. But yeah, back in Portland, I used to live in Portland until about 15 years ago. I participated in a bead bazaar with my finished work and a lot of the netting pieces. And I learned very unequivocally not to do things that anyone in their right mind would copy. I sold nothing that weekend, and another lady who had netted chokers made for her in Guatemala that were $15 a piece or two for $25. And she was like, she had 2 tables full of them. She was mobbed the whole time. So I was like, okay, do things that are one of a kind, such as this one. This is actually inspired from a Planet Stories magazine from the 1950s, like a pulp sci-fi magazine. Love those pulp sci-fi magazines. And a lady who also, pardon the context, the figure there. I had to photograph this quickly before I sent it to her. She was also very into the pulps. In fact, she attends a conference once a year in Chicago, just called the Pulp and Paper Convention, which is all about the pulps. And she wanted a Planet Stories necklace. She also commissioned, I don't have a picture, I think I have it on my website, of the shadow. And she wore the shadow necklace I made for her. And people could instantly recognize what issue it was, what cover it was. This is actually a purse. There was a call for entries quite a while ago called the beaded purse. And I thought, okay, let's expand the idea of a purse. The top of the head opens and it's that wonderful curly weave is done for the hair, and I use it for the handle. And I haven't done this yet, but I keep saying one of these days I'm going to make a coin purse in the shape of a brain for it. This is another Planet Stories magazine cover inspired piece. I swear to God, they have the best covers. Totally badass warrior woman, a space woman. On the cover of this one, it's she's actually riding a space Vespa and getting chased by monsters in their space Vespas. Now, this one in particular kind of had a Zap Comics tie-in because she on the cover she's topless and she has checkered pants, and it reminded me of I don't know if you remember Zap Comics, but this one really great comic artist has a character called the Checkered Demon. So I was like, oh my God, it's the Checkered Demon's mom, and she happens to be an alien. And originally I had a button for the clasp, but Joyce looked at the necklace and she goes, "How much are you charging for it?" And I told her, and she goes, "Do a better clasp." So I thought, okay, yeah, I got to do a better clasp. And that's actually that rocket ship fits through the loop there. So it's a toggle clasp made out of a miniature rocket ship. Now this is back to the cartooning. This is also made from a drawing. Again, I didn't pixel out the picture. It's actually from a record album, and I had too much Catholic guilt to just go directly from the record album. I actually took colored pencils and drew it out and then used that drawing as the basis for the picture. And I don't know, pixeling programs probably by now have, you could do 3-count. This is all 3-count peyote. I love 3-count peyote. It goes faster than single count peyote. And you can actually get better and more gradual, somewhat smoother angles with 3-count than you can with single count peyote. This piece actually was in an exhibit one year, and it happened to win it was chosen for the top prize in the exhibit, and the reward for winning the top prize was another exhibit in a space in that same Mesa Arts Center. It was Mesa, Arizona Arts Center the following year. And I was like, oh my God. So this is a close-up of, again, it was the Ventures record album, one of the many Ventures record albums from the 60s, another surf band from the Northwest, and all instrumental. And it's just it just has a picture of this woman like flipping her hair around on the cover. So I thought, that's how the album makes me feel, makes me want to dance around. But yeah, when I was confronted with the idea of oh my God, I've got a whole room to fill of beads, what do I do? I decided to tackle the idea of the way craft is treated in the art world, especially previously. It's a little better now, but this is back in 2010. So I actually looked it up in an etymological dictionary and discovered that it really comes from the word crap. And I was like, oh my God, no wonder people think it's crap, right? So I use that as kind of the idea of the ways that craft is relegated to the low man on the totem pole for the exhibit. Now, I don't know if other people are old enough. I remember this in our comic books that we grew up with. We had the art instruction schools advertising, and yeah, you like draw the pirate or draw the turtle and send us your drawing, and we'll see if you're good enough to learn to be an artist, right? So yeah, of course, there's a hierarchy within the fine art world too, but it's kind of like if you frame it, it depends on how you frame it, pardon the pun. Now, this was in the exhibit as well. I don't know if you can read it too well, but it says you should have your stuff made in Indonesia. This is what a store owner told me when I gave her my prices. And again, it's a clothing store. They want $300. This is back in the day, $300 for an outfit, and then they want a $30 necklace max, right? So I was just like, I got to commemorate this. In the art world, ideas are king and hands are pawns. Okay, maybe in the whole world, not just the art world. Up here at the top, all these strands, those are those miniature hand beads, the glass beads. And I think I actually looked up on a search engine how many sweatshop workers there are estimated in the world, and it was something like 23 million or something like that. So I had one bead for every million sweatshop workers to commemorate them in that necklace. So I created an installation called Station Identification, another bad pun, to explore different ways in which craft is dissed. This is back in 2010 at Mesa Arts Center, Mesa, Arizona. Fortunately, my dad still lived in Phoenix, so I got to visit him and take him to this as well while I was there. One part of the room, I divided it. I had 4 corners and some things in the middle. Each corner had a different theme. The first one was black and white pieces for all black and white for the either or mentality that gets us into that hierarchical better, worse, stacking, ranking thing. The second was kind of fun, candy colors, because, this is just a meaningless pastime for idle women, right? No, not really, but that's what some people say still. This is a part of the corner illustrating things assertions that craft is just a mechanical thing. There's no thought behind it. Gritty, greasy, put tab A into slot B, do what you're told. You don't, I think you do, that kind of thing. The artist says the idea and the craftsman does the job, right? Now, if you hear, Liza Lou, you've heard of Liza Lou, right? Sure. She did that, life-size installation called Kitchen, which is a kitchen all in beads. She actually was going to San Francisco Art Institute and was told by her professor she could not graduate in using a craft medium. So she dropped out and said, screw you, I'm going to do this anyway. But when she talks about her beadwork her bead art, she is very careful to frame her work in art world terms. She is very familiar with the proper usage and so on, and the unwritten, unspoken thingies that you have to think of while you're discussing your art in the big shot art world. For example, she has mentioned that she couldn't care less about technique. Now, this is the other side of that thing. Previous slide was a close-up of the other side of this piece. It's all right angle weave. I was using, again, found materials. I called it particle flow. With right angle weave, I had the privilege of taking a class from David Chatt, and he's funny. You've got to use check seed beads. You've got to use a certain type of thread, or else it won't work, and so on. So smartass me has to use delicas to do right angle weave on part of this, right? I've got vintage beads, I've got modern check beads, I've got delicas, I've got modern Japanese beads, I've got some satin beads that are probably vintage as well there. So I don't tell David I did that. Now the idea that craft is a pastime for idle women it's kind of like a 1-2 misogynistic punch. These are, I'll get a close-up in a minute for the next slide of them. I call them post-apocalyptic bell pulls. In Victorian times, bell pulls were needlepoint pieces by upper-class women. And of course, bell pulls are there to summon the servants. So how upper middle class can you get, right? I put heads in the bell pulls and again, this is not right angle weave, but herringbone going up to transitioning to peyote stitch for the heads. Herringbone with benefits and stuff, herringbone where you get to do whatever you want as you go. Now the heads are to remind us that all things are made by people, even if a machine made it. Somebody had to make the machine even. So there's a human involved in everything we do on the planet. Sorry, computer peoples, sorry, Peter Thiel, sorry, Bill Gates or whatever. So I had bell pulls for each corner of the exhibit in the color theme appropriate to that corner. Now I've shown you monsters and disembodied heads and eyeballs, so I should probably take this opportunity to show you some ostensibly tasteful things. These are earrings. They're again hollow form beaded beads. I actually use a combination of what I call the fast increasing and decreasing technique, which is the geometric, and then the slower one that I learned from Joyce Scott. It's not slow, but it's the next size slower. So this is a combination. Long story short, I teach it as a class. The cone shapes, just like with the earrings, those are hollow as well. And this is a bracelet, again, done with two types of increasing and decreasing, because, one type good, two types better, more fun, right? Here's another version of that same thing. I actually began with a two-sided piece, one type of increase on one side and one type of increase on the other side, and then corresponding decreases. And then I thought, oh, well, if I can do it twice in a circle, I can do it 4 times. Well, these are 6 tones in a circle. Now, this piece was kind of a funny thing. It's a blessing in disguise. I was actually, I'm going to do this, oh, I'm so vulnerable thing, but I had a class that didn't go. Nobody wanted to not enough people wanted to sign up for it. So I was stuck at my sister's house in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I had nothing to do but bead. Darn. So I started with this red hand, and I was just like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I have this color and this color and this color with me. I will start beading while I listen to the radio. Now, the nice thing was that I could just listen to the radio and bead, right? Not everybody gets to do that all the time. For a lot of us, in a chaotic day, our beating time is just hard fought, hard won, and the only time we get to just call the shots. So I value those times. I happened to be listening to a radio show talking about Haiti, and this is probably 20 years ago. They had something called Miami rice, and it turned out the U.S. was, trying to be helpful and sending free rice to Haiti. Well, that caused all the rice growers to stop producing rice in Haiti because they couldn't compete with what their nickname for it was Miami rice, because it was being shipped from Miami to them. But then the cost of fuel went up. Fancy that. Sound familiar? And the price of this Miami rice skyrocketed, and people were literally eating mud, so they'd have the feeling of food in their stomach. So it was a nice idea, but it turned out quite disastrously. So I just thought, okay, I got to make an elegant statement about that. And excuse me, I jumped ahead. Let's see. Let me hit the stop share, and I will go back and get the slideshow going again. Well, I don't know if that'll work. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Well, sorry about that. I will hit the share button again. Okay. I'll just make a long story short and say that Miami rice neck piece was actually the first necklace that I sold. Now, I kind of have to be a smartass sometimes instead of just weeping openly about things sometimes. Now, these are figural pieces. They're detachable from the framework, and the figures are hollow. Let's see, almost all peyote stitch, except for the music, the little miniature musical instrument, is herringbone, and the herringbone on the pitchfork for the devil lady. And of course, again, that's probably my Catholic upbringing kind of thing. I responded to a call for entry called the Beaded Book. And I remembered those flip books that we had when we were kids. I don't know. They still make them. They're really fun. So of course I had to make a flip book with 3 subjects in it. And so you can combine them. Again, I used 3-count peyote stitch, and I just drew 3 pictures and went by those. Now, this is kind of funny. One student I taught this also in San Luis Obispo, and I had students just bring a picture to go by. So, so they didn't have to draw, because you know how it is when you ask somebody to draw, they're like, oh, I can't draw. So bring in a picture. Well, somebody had brought in a picture that had been pixeled out. So I was like, nah, you just got to do a regular picture. And she did fine. Now, sometimes trusting yourself is the biggest thing people learn, in not only my workshops, but in lots of places. Now, back to Joyce. This is Joyce on the middle right here. I had stayed in contact with her in 2014. She asked me if I was interested in traveling to South Africa, and I said, of course. When do I pack? This is a place in Cape Town called Monkey Biz. Up here, I don't know if you can see my little arrow. My arrow is showing you one of the wonderful, wonderful pieces these people make. It's a group called Monkey Biz. You can buy their products in galleries across the world, including, I'm sure, probably the Walker Art Center might even have them, I hope. But they do basically brick stitch around wire figures. And they do a lot of animals. And Joyce bought this big mermaid. It was just really fabulous material. Joyce got the idea to go there and teach them beadwork, which is kind of funny. The lady whose back is to us right here is another friend, longtime friend of Joyce's, and now mine, of course, who accompanied us. We were 6 people. Out of 6 people, 1 person was white, me, and 1 person was a guy. So it was a fun group, and the guy was very, very tolerant of us uppity women here. Now, it's kind of a funny idea, like Americans teaching Africans to bead. What's up with that, right? But the last picture looked pretty peaceful. This is probably a little more what it was actually like. But again, we just slammed them with techniques. We had they have probably 30 or more artists. They divided them up into 2 groups. And we had one group for 2 days, one group each for 2 days each. And we taught them other types of beading, peyote stitch and such. And the cool part for me as a musician, and Joyce is a musician too, was they speak Xhosa. I don't speak Xhosa too well, and they found it really funny when I tried. But they had to have an interpreter, and it was really fun to hear them speak in the click talk language. You can go to YouTube and find click talk language songs and stuff if you like to try it out. This lady was one of the other artists that came with us. She majored in dance in college. Her nickname is her name's Isato Bay Gracia. Her nickname is the Mayor of Harlem, where she's lived since she was 10 years old. And she led youngsters in dance programs in the townships. The township is a fancy name for extremely poor place to live, or extremely inexpensive place to live over there. But I mean, she's a genius with getting people together. Just give her a few phone numbers and she'll have a program going within a couple hours. She did this not only in the Cape Town area, but in Durban and outside the country in Natal. This was outside of Durban. This is the guy standing in the middle of the kids here is the guy that was with us. He's William Rhodes, Joyce Scott's godson. And he works with young people and he works with old people. And he was doing a quilt project, and these kids were doing the quilt project with him. They were drawing for him. He's done this in many places, and this is again outside of actually no, this is outside of Durban. Excuse me. What was really freaky for him is he was considered white as a white person over there when we're in South Africa. They actually have a 3 categories. You're white as in European, you are color that get this, they use the term colored, believe it or not, for if you're combo, or if you're American and what we would consider black. And then black over there is basically indigenous, and so on. So they get, it's crazy. It's like all my friends were white when we were in South Africa, and once they stepped back off the plane in America, they're black again. So that was an eye-opener. And this was one of the big reasons we were over there. This lady, she is so sweet. This is her nephew. She's trying to smile and kiss her nephew at the same time. The thing is that a lot of these, this is back at Monkey Biz, these ladies earn a living from Monkey Biz. They get paid every week. They're given the beads and materials. They take the train home, they work all week, they take the train back to the Monkey Biz headquarters, turn in their finished work and get paid. And what it helps out is that she's caring for her nephew because she has a sibling who died of AIDS. AIDS is still a huge problem over there. And for people in the townships, medicine is way too expensive. So we've got a lot of these ladies taking care of a lot of nieces and nephews. So for me, and hopefully other people, art is about liberation. These are, again, 3D figures. You can see one is in a cage and the other is not. Or the other, maybe the blue figure on the right doesn't realize that all she has to do is turn around and she's not in the cage anymore. This piece was inspired by the petroglyphs in the Columbia River Gorge. There's a story, a myth or legend about a lady who was chieftain of all the people who lived around there thousands of years ago. And she, the coyote trickster came around and somehow tricked her and turned her into stone. And well, she's turned into stone in one of the cliffs looking over the Columbia River Gorge, and they have petroglyphs of her eyes. She's looking over her people forever and hopefully keeping them safe. It's another freeform piece, and yep, you guessed it, there is curly weave in there. I just made it up as I went along. What can I say? I used mostly just about all vintage beads in there, I believe. This one is based on a bit gnarlier story. Back in 2012, I learned of a lady named Mamina Bibi who was just picking okra in her garden for her kids and grandkids, and she was killed by a drone bomb. She lived in an area near Pakistan and Afghanistan. And so I made the piece in the same kind of format with that shawl-like, no clasp in the back. The clasp comes together in front. There's just something that loops. There's a loop, basically a toggle and loop situation in the front is the way it clasps. And I made little okra pods and such. Peyote stitch for most of it, tubular herringbone for the okra. And this is a little more whimsical. I made a teapot for a teapot exhibit at Mobilia. And I used, the teapot is self-supporting. There's no armature. Those are size 6s. The tea bags are size 11s. And I used sequins inside the tea bags to make the tea leaves. Back in 2011, before we went to South Africa, I had the privilege of assisting Joyce at Haystack Mountain School of Crafts in 2011. The theme of the week-long workshop was humorous beadwork. It was gorgeous there. If you ever get a chance, go. We saw it's on an island on the coast of Maine, and we saw three-masted sailing ships pass by in the water from our studio where we were holding the class. It was great. We spent time making large-scale faces, kind of like what we did at Monkey Biz in Cape Town. But these were half masks. So I began this after Haystack. It's close to life size. It's three-dimensional, and I did want to do it. I had done a couple pieces as half masks, and I decided to just go for the gusto and do it life size, or do the three-dimensional. And that's the back of the piece. I actually, for those of you who like logistics and stuff, I used those glass globs that you can buy at the craft store for placing in things, aquariums and floral displays, to weigh it down at the bottom so it can sit by itself with unsupported. And then for the rest of it, I just use pillow stuffing. And I actually confess I slacked off and used size 8 beads. I didn't use size 11s on this one. Then during the pandemic, I created this piece. I call it Touch. You can see the hands going up there. There's some hands coming down. I do love the bigger beads, and I love to work them together with the seed beads. And again, anything with a hole in it is a bead, of course. And I love trade beads and old carnelian beads and things. So what can I say? Had to include them all. And those little lentil beads, I love those. I wanted to represent, this is during the pandemic, how much we all miss the people and the people contact. It's like, I have a friend, and I know, and either you or know people a dear friend who couldn't visit their mom with Alzheimer's in the Alzheimer's care center because of the pandemic, and it was really hard to live through. Many other tales are there, but it's just unavoidable. We just have to. And Zoom helps, being in person really helps, but, we really need that people-to-people contact. Now, this is actually me working in Joyce's kitchen. I happen to be teaching beading workshops in the Baltimore area where she lives, so I stayed over with her to help her on a much bigger project. And she paid me, just for the record. Joyce is a very generous person. When I was there, I saw her, they have something called, now get this, they call it Arabs. It's a term dating back to the late 1800s, when Arab immigrants used to take horse-drawn carts through the streets of Baltimore to sell fruits and vegetables. They still have people literally on horse-drawn carts in Baltimore selling fruits and vegetables door to door. And they're, the guys that I saw coming up to Joyce's house were African American, but they had the horses, and she was actually on the second floor. She lowered a basket with some money in it and called out to him to what she wanted to have him put in there. And she goes, "Oh yeah, and I want this and this and this for the lady next door." So that's how Joyce is a generous person. That's before she got the MacArthur grant, that she was that generous. But so yeah, I also should point out that cone there is fiber, I think wool thread that Joyce spun while she was in college. So and she's had me work with big plastic pony beads, believe it or not. So yeah, just for the record, it does pay to have stash because she'd actually kept that since she was in college. Now, this is Joyce seated on a throne at the Baltimore Museum of Art, and she is surrounded by books that she loved and also beadwork that she did. She had me help her along with 3 other yeah, 3 other artists, 2 beaters and 1 crocheter, and to help her make pieces for this exhibit, which was a 50-year retrospective exhibit. And yeah, she used pony beads. Don't be ashamed of don't be ashamed of using plastic if you can make really rad things like that. Yeah, she actually had me fly back to Baltimore to help her work on it. The piece above, I helped direct the other 2 beaters in helped them teach how to make 3-dimensional hands and fingers and so on. These are at least life size. This figure holds a needle in her hand, a giant needle. So I got my name on the Mobilia Museum again. What the hey? This is a recent piece from about a year ago. This actually is in size 11s. And it has to do, it actually relates to a song. I'm still a musician. I play electric guitar with my husband. He loves it because once I learned to play electric guitar, he could play electric guitar and do all the leads that he wanted, and I play rhythm. Once I started playing electric guitar, I had been playing bass for 30 years before that, finally learned that electric guitar. And once I did that, I started writing more songs. This piece is based on one of the songs that we co-wrote. And it's kind of like about, I don't want to sound too woo-woo, but like reincarnation and stuff. The unofficial title is Tuna Milk because we couldn't come up with a good name for a song. We had to do a placeholder name. That's the unofficial name. But it's kind of like about, you know, not being on Earth, not being embodied, coming back to Earth, and so on. And I did again, it's a freeform piece. You can see, you know, after 20, 30 years, I'm still doing netting, which I love. And the figural piece is flat. I didn't, let's see, I think I did a little sketch for that. I didn't follow it exactly. I didn't do a sketch for the other, but I did want to do kind of it was kind of based on the star card in the tarot, but I was doing a flat peyote stitch for that, but then for the discs, for the discs, I was doing flat round peyote stitch, and they're not as flat as they look, just so you know. I thought I had another picture that showing the discs close up. Sorry about that. Now, this is a most recent piece, not counting what I'm working on right now. And it's also inspired by the pulp science fiction mags from the 40s and 50s. This is actually from, I'd have to go to the other room to grab the actual copy of the magazine that we have, but it's called Thrilling Wonder Stories, and it's from August 1949, I believe. And yeah, it's got a blue hand clutching 2 human figure, a man and a woman, tightly in its clutches. Now, who can't relate to feeling stuck in the clutches sometimes of something so much bigger than yourself? It was created for Mobilia Gallery, an exhibit. It was in an exhibit a couple months ago. Now, as I was discussing my progress with them, Libby, the co-owner of the gallery, said, "Oh, we've got an arm. Why don't you put some tattoos on the arm?" So down below here are the tattoos. And I did these pattern. I didn't pattern these out. I just thought, I'm just gonna like start with a bead here, a bead there, make it smushy, bring in another color, that kind of thing, see how it morphs. That was actually really fun. I mean, I could see myself just doing something like that by itself. So that was another view. Again, the arm, up to a point, it's hollow, but down below in the hand, so it doesn't collapse, I put stuffing in there. I'm betting that they're gonna get out of this thing. They're gonna get free somehow, someday. So, so here we go. Yeah, so that's it for now. I'm happy to take questions. I have a website. I publish videos on YouTube at the Beads podcast. I have, if you're interested in joining me on Patreon, I have videos up there as well. And your interest and support really helps me sustain me while I'm doing these long-term projects that take 2-3 months to do, and without having to scramble to survive outside of the context of making things for future shows, basically on spec, you know. So again, I'll stop the share, and I'm happy to. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, did Hannah put that up?
Oh, good.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, but yeah, by all means, hammer me with questions. I'm loquacious, can you tell?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
The red fire pieces, it had twisted wire at the top. Is it all done with wire or just the top?
Just the top. I actually make the framework and then I bead back and forth. But I actually discovered the hard way that it's better to not even use wire at all, because wire, it's going to flex, and once it flexes past a certain number of flexes, it will break. I actually made a pair of uh, flame cuffs for none other than Marsha DeCoster with Swarovski crystals, of course. And discovered that and had to fix them. So I was like, oh, that was embarrassing, you know, big shot bead artist, and I made something that broke. So yeah, I caution you, if you're going to make something that goes to and from wire, do so, but do so with the knowledge that you don't want to let them flex.
Thank you.
You bet.
Do you still teach any workshops?
I sure do. I took a break from, I've been teaching workshops on Zoom, and last year last couple of years in a row, I taught in Springfield, Illinois. It was really fun. I love teaching in person. There's nothing, you know, there's something about that. But yes, I do teach in person. In fact, I think I was trying to I proposed some classes to you guys, and I sent some information, and there might be a chance this fall that I might get to teach, possibly via Zoom and stuff.
Oh.
I'm also thinking, you'll see this on my website, and I probably need to actually just do a video about it. I'm thinking of doing a kind of a one-on-one program. I've got a page on it on my website. I'm calling it the Art and Alchemy Program. And I work with you directly, one-on-one. We meet for an hour at a time, and I tailor it to you. Basically, if you're into technique, I can slam you with techniques. We can really get your techniques honed, and to the point where you can choose from a selection of techniques depending on the style, you know, choose from the style based on the style and based on how the style needs to support the message of what you're making. We can also go into, I can give you a syllabus. I mean, I could give you a reading list that could hopefully revolutionize your beading and so on. So yeah, it's basically tailored very individually, and is very open-ended and can be very specific.
I will definitely look into that.
Sweet, thanks. I'm kind of old school and a Luddite, a bit of a Luddite, so I'm like, oh God, I got to put a new page on my website. How do I do that? It's been years, but I did. So I think I actually hooked up Calendly, so you can book a thing with me through that, and generally I just have a contact form on my website, so you can just email me that way.
Okay.
So Teresa, this is Sue again. During COVID, I kind of saw your name with contemporary geometric beadwork.
Oh yeah.
I was curious about what's going on with that right now. And before you
Oh.
answer, I just thought I'd show you. This is Raucous Rosie.
Oh, let's see. I can't see her. Can
Wait
you
a minute,
put
wait
her
a
on?
minute. I'm finding
Oh,
her.
okay.
Hold on, I'm
Yeah.
finding
I'll put a piece
her.
of
Oh,
white
Hold
paper
on.
behind her.
Oh,
There.
There we go.
all
Thank you.
This is
right.
Raucous Rosie in her little
All
black dress.
right.
She's a lounge
And
singer.
oh, that's great.
Anyway.
With a long necklace, no less, too.
Oh, yeah,
That's-
absolutely. She has to twist it around. So.
Wow.
Anyway.
Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you. No, was there
So
what
about
was it?
Kate
Oh,
McKinnon.
that yeah,
and-
geometric
yeah.
reader. Oh God. Well, I should preface this by saying that I have several slide talk subjects, and one of them was that I've given was for the Bead Summit in Tucson many, many years ago, where both Kate McKinnon and Gene Power got together, and along with Marcia DeCoster and the Gabrielle and Geronin and some wonderful people, and yeah, it was Kate that suggested I combine the slower increase with the faster increase that they're doing. And believe it or not, I taught a heads class there. But yeah, since then I visited Tucson since a year later and the year later, and I got many different. I don't think to be perfectly frank with you, I don't think I got a totally straight answer as to what happened. But next thing I knew, the next thing I knew, there were two geometric versions, one domestic and one across the pond. And it was, in a way, for us beaters, is kind of the way we benefited from that was that we had the Kate McKinnon esoteric, oh, try this, good luck to you, and also the very down to earth, like hold you by the hand, very supportive Gene Power books version. So I recommend both. But yeah, I do have students who when I started teaching on Zoom, I got a couple students who live in Manhattan, and one of them's well into her 80s, and she's going, well, when they finally send the book that I paid for, they can probably put it on my grave, So,
Well, there's that.
so I don't, once in a while I'll go on each one of their websites and see what's up and stuff, and I think it sounds like it kind of got away from her, and I at some point, I had been asked along with Gabrielle and Geronin to model for for one of the geometric beadwork books, and just between you, me, and the wall, I just a couple times I came down there and I was able to work to be an assistant at a booth for one of the vendors in Tucson to pay for my trip down there. But one time, she asked, "Oh, you want to be a model? Yeah, come on down." And I was like, "Well, are you paying me to be a model?" I'm like, me, a model? Come on. But is there pay involved? Can you pay me to come down here? Can you cover my expenses? And the answer was no. So I was like, well, sorry, can't afford to work for free, But personally, I have definitely no hard feelings, and I really hope, as far as I know, Kate has long COVID, so I hope she gets over it, and I hope everybody gets their books, and I hope people don't give up on uh, uh, their own creativity, and stuff. But yeah, I mean, seriously, this is that same
Gorgeous.
that same
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
Your
and
book is
yeah,
fabulous.
it's a dear friend of mine, Sam Norgard, was involved with it too, and she was going to, so I don't know. It kind of depends on the person you talk to in terms of the disposition of the different parties involved. But as long as they're still beating,
Yeah, exactly.
that's the bottom line for me.
I was just looking through the chat. There's a couple questions on curly weave.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so yeah, they wanted you to briefly explain in a small like what is curly weave?
Yeah, well, basically it's my semi motto is putting beads where they don't belong since 1994. What you do is you basically start off with straight peyote stitch, but then you start decreasing on one side and you start increasing on another edge. And then you just keep doing that and it curves around. I mean, I'm oversimplifying, but the fun thing about that is that you can do it just about any width. There's a point after which if it's too wide, then it kind of folds over on itself and it doesn't work anymore, or ostensibly. But the fun thing for me is that you remember that piece with the big yellow hand. You can add things to it as you go to one of the edges, to the decreasing edge, and you can get scads of different effects. In fact, I should probably.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Oops.
What?
Oh.
Amanda, did you have an explosion?
Oh, thread broke. Ah.
Don't. So yeah, since I'm not screen sharing, I will look for a picture of the whirling dervishes, because the way the whirling dervishes originated was, let's see here, a picture, was that I was actually in Homer, Alaska, of all places, and let's see, workshop samples. And I was doing a workshop on, let's see. Oh, now I'll show it in a sec. I was doing a class on curly waves, as far as I call them. And let's see, here we go. And I will hit the share screen. And this woman, now this is another anecdote, but this woman had this whole, one of the students, and you'll find this in many classes, she kept saying, "Oh, I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm so stupid." And I was like, "No, you're not stupid. Don't worry about it. Just keep going." Well, she screwed up. She was doing it wrong, but it looked cool. So that's where this started. I was like, "Oh, well, like, don't undo it. Let's figure out what you did, and like maybe we can do it on purpose." So out of that, all she was doing was one extra bead. So it was looking more like, instead of a smooth curve, it was um, a jagged curve. And punk rocker me likes jagged stuff, right? That's actually one of that's a curly weave with one different type of dangles, same as this guy, different dangle. So that's what. So yeah, that birthed a whole bunch of things. But hooray her, yeah, she. Yeah, so yeah, like one of my students says, a mistake repeated is a new stitch. And yeah, as I was going earlier, I was saying, oh my God, I have a whole I have other. Oh, in fact, I don't know if Suzanne Stephenson is here, but she was talking, she'd gone to Czech Republic, and we'd both gone to the same little antique store in the middle of nowhere in Czech Republic. And I was going, oh yeah, I got a whole slideshow on that, So a couple of them, in fact. I got oh, huh.
Yeah, Doris was just there. She leads a trip every other year there.
Oh, cool.
So,
And Suzanne was there with me.
and me.
Oh, cool. Okay, so yeah. Are they still there? I wasn't there. It was back in 2000 something. I mean, at least 10 years ago, but they're in this little former schoolhouse in a little tiny wide spot in the road called Hut, I think. So that was the antique store in the Czech Republic, that is. And they had these World War II ammo boxes full of what they called romps, which were seconds. But in with the romps were some cool beads.
Yes.
Just buy it by the kilo and sort it out in your hotel room when you get back. Yeah.
That's so exciting. Any other questions, anybody? I was, there's so many, we just, oh my gosh, this has been so inspiring.
Cool.
And so, I mean, so what's your favorite, music or beads?
Oh God, no, they feed each other. They really feed each other. I can't do one or the other. I have to do both. And yeah, if you said what's my favorite music, I'd be like, oh my God.
No, I
You know,
know better than to.
yeah, like tons of music. But if they have that thing of if you're stuck on a desert island, what 10 albums would you bring? I'm like, oh no. Way more
Which
than
beads
10.
do you bring? That's the hard part.
Oh,
Which beads do
yeah.
you bring? If you could only
Yeah.
bring 2 kilos of beads, oh my God.
Oh boy. Well, and in some areas, in fact, in the Pacific Northwest, we had people back in the day, back in the 100, 200 years ago, we had people trading with native people. They traded beads, among other things, from Russia to here. That's what they call, those Russian blues. They were
Yeah.
made in Czech and Bohemia, but they were traded by Russians to the West Coast. And in the sand, in the Puget Sound, just north of me, you can find tiny beads still just in the sand. This one lady as well, when I worked at a bead store, she said, "Oh yeah, I lived in Saudi Arabia. You'd find beads in the sand there on the beach." It's like, ooh, cool.
That's really cool. And so, oh my gosh.
Could we please share the website or the Patreon information? Trying to
It-
find it online.
I think it's in the chat. Did
Is
you
it
look
in
in the
the chat?
chat?
Let me look again.
Ah,
I did find the Patreon. I could put that in. I put,
With everybody's permission, I will share.
Yeah, go for it.
sweet.
Give
Oh,
me just
thank
a
you.
second, if you would, to find it again. Hang tight.
Mhm.
Yeah. But there's a bunch of links in the chat. If you haven't been there, anybody, make sure that Paulette and Hannah have both been plugging them in there.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I don't even have an Instagram account. And oh, that's rad. I clicked on the Instagram link. That's right. Oh, I can let's see. I can well, thanks for your comments too. I appreciate it. Yeah. Wow. And yeah, with Patreon, it's kind of like a somewhat dignified way of panhandling, I guess. So, and honestly, the lady, one of my students, insisted that I set up a Patreon page, so I did that. And I'll be to be perfectly frank with you, I don't think I've hidden too many posts from the unpaid members. So you can join for free or be paid. You'll see just about everything regardless, because my generous patrons just want to help me keep me off the street and keep me making beadwork. But yeah, it does make a huge difference, and it's a huge uh, mentally, morally, as well as financially. It's really helpful. And yeah, YouTube too. I've got uh, not a huge number of followers. I think YouTube is the only social media I'm on, if you even call it. So yeah, I appreciate all shares and likes and all that fun stuff. I think I actually uh, unsubscribed. I actually completely deleted my Facebook account back in 2012, and I tried to get back on it, and somehow, even though I had Facebook take a picture of me through my screen, Facebook wouldn't let me set up a new account. So in any case, what the hey, you just got to find me, you know.
So how did you get connected with like galleries and yeah, how did you make those connections?
Oh God. Actually, some of it has been hitting the pavement and some of it has been through friends. The the time I knew it was time to just be a full-time artist, let's see, I actually heard about a really small gallery in Portland called Beat Gallery, BEET Gallery, actually owned by a nice person, believe it or not a scary, snooty, whatever type person. Um, let's see, I had actually, that was my first solo exhibit, but I'll backtrack a little. I was in a year-long class. I hate to use the term master class, but it was that Nancy Meinhardt thing that she did in a bunch of cities. And the end of that class, part of the class was you had to actually exhibit your work. And a couple of us from the class went to a lady in Portland who went down this one street with a bunch of galleries on it. And we, you know, politely asked, and we actually found somebody who went for it. And we were like, oh my God, you know, and that was epic. So that was my first gallery experience. Actually, I'd been in group exhibits before that, just through calls for entry, but that was the first time it was a local gallery, and it was like, bring your stuff. And I was still working in the tile factory. I had to like get permission in fact, I got onto a dual artist exhibit. It was me and this artist who's doing huge, large scale ceramics. She usually does 2 artists every month. And I had to get permission from my supervisor to install my artwork take time off to install my artwork at the gallery. So I was really glad to leave that job. Yeah, a few years later, I was working in a bead store, and the bead store owner was not good with finances, so she had to close the store. And I was not unhappy to have that layoff, because the previous weekend that I was notified of the layoff, I had done a slide talk and 3 days of classes in Seattle and a trunk show in Seattle at the bead store, and I made more money in the weekend than I did the previous month. So I was like, okay, sign from the universe, take a hint, Teresa. This is okay, you'll survive. But yes, and actually at that same week, I secured a exhibit at the Beat Gallery. This is the other one was in 2001. The latter was in Beat Gallery. It's 2007. So it is possible. It's just really difficult, because most galleries, if they hear beadwork, they think kitsch, or they just go, even Beat Gallery, they're like, oh, well, if I take less commission, can you lower your prices? I'm like, hey, if they're not going to pay this, they're still not going to pay that. So just, so they kind of have to understand what they're working with. But yeah, it's tricky. And let's see, the Mesa Arts Center, I got that as a result of winning a Jurors Award. So, but that started as a call for entry, and it was a national call for entry. So, and they do go to Mesa Arts Center, look up Mesa Arts Center on the web. They do a call for entries every year for contemporary crafts, and also this is timely, because their call for entries, I think, due in September, but also Wayne Art Center, Wayne Art Center in Pennsylvania, does an annual crafts exhibit. So Hannah, if you're handy, if you want to look this up.
Could you spell that, Wayne? The last one. Could you spell that again?
Oh, Wayne Art Center in somewhere, a suburb of Philadelphia, I think it is. but yeah, Wayne Art Center does a call for entry for specific to crafts every year. So I encourage you to check that out. But yeah, basically, the Mobilia Gallery, I think I can't remember. I think I probably got that connection through Joyce Scott, but they are open to seed bead work. And they do a lot of jewelry. So keep that in mind too. And it's mobilia-gallery.com. Mobilia -gallery.com. But yeah, it's to me, honestly, after all these years, I'm just like, if you don't want it, that's good. I want to know that right away, because if you don't think you can sell it, I know you can't sell it. And I want to actually sell my work. I don't want to screw around. I mean, it's wonderful for the ego to have my work exhibited. It's even more wonderful in many ways to have your work sell. So,
Very cool.
yeah. But don't ever give up, because if I can sell, you can. And again, believe me, I've seen people underprice their work, and I've seen people price their work very high. And there are numerous YouTube videos advising artists to raise their prices, even oil painting artists, to not price their work too low. It helps everybody when you price your work so that you're not getting less than minimum wage.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, really good advice. Absolutely. Yeah, they were cleaning up outside our room, and so there's lots of noise out there. So I didn't want anybody to be disturbed. This is so inspiring. I love the three-dimensionality, the whimsicalness. Oh my gosh, it's just, and hearing all the stories, it's even better. And so I appreciate you so much.
Want a sneak peek at my bead stash?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Um,
workroom. Woo. Great.
these are some of the reds.
Hold on, let me spotlight. Duh, I'm a dork. I'm tired. There you go.
Yeah, these are some of the reds.
Oh my God.
This is I for my wall. If it weren't for thumbtacks, I would not know what to do. These are some of the blacks and whites. These are the more estates. Somebody went to Kenya and came back with pieces, put them in their estate sale, and I bought them. These are some of the browns and golds. So no, this in the vernacular, this one friend, musician friend, I brought him into the bead room just to show him, and his expression was, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not screwing around there.
Nah, it pays to have, believe me. And yeah, actually, when I do classes in person, I can do trunk shows.
That would be good.
So cool, I tell you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Paulette's got her hand up. Wait a minute.
I have a question. So I know you talked about, and I looked at your Patreon, and you have different levels and whatever, but you talked about, because you've done research and there's actually written documents or information that you can read about beading in a different way. And I was wondering, is that part of something that you present on your Patreon, or is that something when people are working with you like on a one-on-one basis to do a project or a mentorship or whatever?
Both. Yeah, on the earlier Patreon videos and YouTube videos, I was kind of getting a little philosophical and talking about things, and even relating it. I don't know if I have this on a video, but you know how at the beginning of the talk I was talking about how seed beads are trade beads too? I found this anecdote, and I really should, maybe I'll make another video about it. I was reading, there's this great book called, I think it's something, it's been so many years since I read it, but it was basically The Invention of the White Race in 2 volumes. And it's basically like talking about indentured servants and in the early American colonial period, and how back then people were called Portuguese, or called Irish, they were called it wasn't they're called Africans, they're called Spanish, and so on. Well, in that book there was this little nugget about a woman who was taken, the woman who took somebody to court because her husband was an indentured servant. She was not. Indians raided the plantation where her husband was an indentured servant and killed everybody, took her captive, and some guy came by with 2 pounds of beads and ransomed her and claimed her as the indentured servant. She's going, I never was an indentured servant, so she took him to jail. And I'm like, but what about the beads? He got her for 2 pounds of beads, dude. Well, I think what it was, seed beads used to be called pound beads because they're sold by the pound. So I'm thinking he just had a big old sack of beads. And I'm like, but and it was just like, it was something I was interested in otherwise that happened to have a story about beads in it historically. And I'm like, beads, there is really gnarly history with beads. Extremely gnarly history with trade beads. Beads were traded for people, literally for slaves. You could, a string that long of gooseberry beads for a human. So to me, there's like massive lore. And I get into that and all kinds of fun stuff on the videos. And I do take suggestions. So if you want to hear about something, by all means, hit me up.
Okay, cool. To look that up in that book.
Thank you so much. This is so exciting. I'm going to stop recording so I don't forget. Otherwise, we'll never be able to